All right, welcome to the latest edition of the FPL America podcast. This is David Smith.
Travis Hoyt.
Brian Shesko.
Gentlemen, a lot has happened since we have last recorded. I have been traveling all around the state, also the state of North Carolina, and so much to talk about. We've had EFL Cup finals between Newcastle and Liverpool. We've had... Oh, Brian, what's on your shirt there, Brian?
Oh, is that your Spurs shirt?
Oh,
or your West Ham shirt?
Interesting.
Or
we have...
Oh, another one.
Looks
Travis,
like two friendly seahorses
Let's see.
playing chess on top of a shield.
Is it chess?
I love it.
It looks
Travis,
like kind of effeminate.
We won't get into that yet. We don't need to talk about, the sad things of Liverpool as they're on their way to marching to the Premier League title. But FA Cup matches, there were some injuries. There's also some pertinent fantasy stuff. There's injuries from guys on my team that are going to be coming back. We're going to discuss all those things. Gentlemen, this weekend I was away at the Outer Banks. I have a very generous friend who is not in his house in the Outer Banks and let me and my beautiful wife take over the house for the weekend. And, man, did we have a great time of just relaxing. Had amazing food. Saturday afternoon, we were having a late lunch. Went to this place, and they had a great selection of raw oysters. My wife wanted some oysters, and so
oysters.
We went in there, and the ones they had like a selection of 6 or 7 different style oysters you could get, and so the one she selected, the lady's like, "Hey, those are $1 a piece. We have them on special today," and we're like, "That's great." So yeah, crushed like 24
what's wrong
oysters.
with them?
Nothing. Oh yeah, probably should have.
They're only a couple weeks old.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're on the coast, you're eating oysters. They're gonna be fresh. They're gonna be fresh. Also, ate at another place, and I've eaten there before when I've gone down there with some buddies, do some fishing and golfing. It's got a weird name. It's the name of the family who started it in the 1920s. Bass Night is their last name, and then the restaurant's called the Lone Cedar, but it's Bass Night's Lone Cedar. Their she crab soup is legendary, and we got it, and I had it before, and my wife had it, and literally it was so thick you could eat it with a fork. It was ridiculous.
Man.
Was this your lead-in to tell us you brought us some?
No, I don't have any she crab soup. I wish.
He was going to say that
I wish.
He had a flashback during the soup of a basketball game, he threw his chair into the kitchen.
Oh, there's that.
Shelob
and
over
then
here.
Saturday night we ate at probably one of the nicer places down there. Brian, that's a crazy-looking Star Trek mouse.
We'll talk about that. We can talk about that some other day.
What is that, Travis?
I don't know. You're all over the place, but that is definitely
a little
science fiction.
ADD there took over. Anyways, Saturday night we ate at a very nice restaurant. We're down there celebrating our 19th anniversary, and we ate at probably one of the nicest restaurants in that strip, a place called JK's. If you're ever in the Outer Banks, go eat at JK's. They're only open from 5 to 9, and I had the rack of lamb. And it was absolutely so perfect.
You went to the coast and got lamb?
That's the only time
sea lamb.
Whoa,
sea lamb.
Whoa.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, now I'm tracking now.
A lot of we had 4 or 5 other meals. It was all seafood. I had an omelet this morning as we left out of there, and they were the special omelet of the day at this place that was serving brunch. It was like a crab and onion tomato omelet. It was fantastic. So easy at that place.
Hey. It
was the only time that we didn't get any seafood. Unbelievable. I love, if you gave me one choice of meat, if you have ever had lamb done properly, a rack of lamb, it is, I'm telling you, I'll take that over steak every time. It is so unreal.
I am just not.
That means you haven't had it. That means you haven't had it. I'm telling you.
I mean, I've had great lamb when they have it on the big cylinder and they're shaving it off into your hero.
It's not the same.
That's great lamb.
It's good. It's not the same.
Outback Steakhouse.
It's been sitting there with the little heat lamp on it.
Outback used
it's
to.
Delicious.
Outback used to do lamb.
Anyways, So, anyways, it's been a good time.
Is Australia known for their lamb?
Sheep practically everywhere.
I mean, it's been an international break, an extended break because of the FA Cup.
Yeah,
weekend.
Really.
You just got done eating at the beach, and now...
And I was at Virginia Beach the weekend before.
He showed up to my door with his little bib still on from one of his restaurants.
Man, I wish. Yeah, so anyways, it's been a wild 2 weeks of 2 weekends where I've been out of town. This is Sunday night. We normally don't record this late and/or /early, however you want to look at it. But
blame the scheduler.
I know I am.
Blame a 15-day break in the middle of March.
Seriously, it's crazy. Anyways,
I'm fine with it.
All that
Liverpool
being said,
needed it.
and this is not an NCAA podcast, but the NCAA tournament has been going on for the past 2 weekends, and we haven't recorded. That's been a ton of fun for us people who follow along with that. March Madness.
That's true.
It's been
but
mad.
This is not an NCAA men's basketball podcast. We're not going to talk about that.
This is a middle school girls basketball podcast.
And I don't, unfortunately, have any of that to talk about. But much to the chagrin of the audience, who I get emails all the time, hey, listen, give us some more juice on the middle school girls basketball. We love to hear about that. So I don't have any more updates for that. I hate to let everyone down.
Stop emailing him.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you. You're the one that's doing it.
Oh, I have. It's all on my anonymous email account.
So we have a ton of relevant things after I'm done blowing wind here to talk about.
Yeah.
And Brian, what are some of the things we're going to cover? I mean, I went over some things.
So what things did he not talk about?
Well, holy heck, look at what just happened. We had game week 29, then a huge break. Then we had just today wrapped up the quarterfinals of the FA Cup.
Yep.
And so we now have a little bit of clarity.
Yeah, they were good games.
Clarity as to who's in the upcoming games, but no clarity about when exactly the reschedules are. We have a guess thanks to Ben Crellin, but we don't have anything concrete. But I think after all of that, there's injuries to talk about. There's the schedule to talk about. There's a little bit of chip strategy to talk about. And I think you probably are making your decisions based on, I would imagine, long-term,
right?
At least preparing ahead of time for double game weeks.
We are going into match week
30.
Right? We're going into match week 30, right? We finished
going
29.
into match week 30.
Okay.
So we're calling this podcast FPL America Game Week 30 Plus.
Ooh, 30 plus.
That's not the title. I'm just saying that.
Game Week 30 XL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Game Week 30 Ultra.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, yes, that's what we're going to talk about. Play that little jingle. What do? You play that. Is that what we still do?
No.
I don't have it, but I can put them on the board.
Gonna get
items on the board. There we go.
Put it on the board.
The wardrobe wind-up, the first thing we wanted to talk about was to give Travis just
we
a
don't
chance.
want to talk about it, but
just a chance. That game was fantastic.
That game was wild,
fun.
and we briefly talked about this before we went on air. Travis, I'll say my words, and I'll turn it over to you. Watching that game, I was just kind of like, yeah, that's the same team. That's the same Newcastle team that beat the crap out of Arsenal in 2 games in the semifinals, right? Like, that Liverpool, I feel like, got a little bit of the taste. For whatever reason, Newcastle in that tournament this year decided that they were going to play at a level that they're not playing at in the Premier League. They have it in glimpses, but it has not been a consistent thing. Otherwise, Newcastle might be tops in the table. They played that well in that game. You said, when we were briefly discussing it earlier, they won the game. We did not lose it. And I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I'm still shocked at the fact that as I'm watching it, and I realized in the second half, Salah can't get touches. I don't know what they were doing or why Liverpool couldn't get Salah touches. Salah couldn't get touches. That's the first time I've seen that all season. And I still expected in that game to have a little Salah magic, 75th minute and on, because he's done it so much this season. Yeah. He's been so reliable at that. In Liverpool, and we've discussed this, they have relied on Salah the entire season to bail them out of jams that they've kind of found, or not jams, but like times in the game when they've kind of got stuck, or they're kind of, letting teams hang around, and all of a sudden Salah comes in late in the game, even though he hasn't done much early in the game, and he slams the door on people. He's been doing it all season. He's having a career best season in the Premier League, and so it was just a little shocking to kind of see that, like Brian brought this up, and I think I had seen this stat, that his XG in the game was 0.000. And when I saw that stat, I guess
0-0.
Yeah, what I was seeing, it kind of felt like that because I kept thinking, why can't they get him touches? And then that stat really truly proved it. I don't know what Newcastle did differently or if they did anything differently, but he just couldn't get in. And you know, there's other Liverpool drama we'll discuss in a second. Travis, do you think this result will affect Liverpool moving forward as they're cruising to a Premier League title? Because there's 8 games left, right?
Well,
or is there 9? There's match week 30, so I think that means there's 9 games, or at least 9 match weeks left. But
9.
Yeah, everyone's got 9 games left. So there's a quarter of the season left, technically, or real close to it. Well, they play 39 games almost, or 38 games, almost 40 games. So there's pretty much a quarter of the season left. I still think, and you've been saying this, that it's not over yet. I feel like it's completely over, the league, and I think Arsenal, when they play in the third to last game, will be giving them the Guard of Honor or whatever it's called. But, Travis, what are your thoughts on this game and their performance, and will this affect them moving forward?
I think the game was very similar to the PSG game that they played just before, and I think Liverpool got scored on by preparing to play that game like they did against PSG just before, right? So the PSG game went to extra time and to penalties, and it sure looked like this game, you know, the Newcastle Liverpool game was going to go to that, right? So the idea that, you know, Dan Burn hits a header
one of the best headers I've seen in a long time.
I mean, even Eddie Howe said, we worked on this for 2 weeks and he didn't hit anything like that. Right. So the idea that a guy can come up with a supernatural play in a cup is kind of like,
was there an issue
dream,
with McAllister continuing to mark him on the following corners?
I don't think so. I think ultimately it's the distance from the box, from the 6-yard box.
It's so far out.
It's no big deal if he's, you know, 3-4 yards closer because of the way their zone system works. They've got a man free that's, you know, yes, he may be literally like 2 feet shorter than him. It doesn't matter because one of the big guys is coming in on a zone and is going to pick him up as he gets closer. The issue was he wasn't getting closer. Right. He was getting service from far away, and he was, you know, hitting like powerful shots. And you want to back your keeper to stop it from that far away on a header, right? You would expect that.
The service was excellent. It had excellent power and whip.
Yeah, it was a good ball.
It was fantastic.
It was a good ball. I don't think McAllister did anything necessarily wrong. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, that again, they were mentally preparing for extra time, and you can kind of tell that. So, I think the game went well. It was a good watch. It wasn't a good watch from a Liverpool perspective because I wanted them to put it to bed.
Sure.
And it just never came. So all that to say, just like the PSG match, prior, Liverpool didn't just roll over and absorb pressure. They had decent spells where they huffed and they puffed, but not getting Salah involved was a very big deal. And Eddie Howe came out actually afterwards and said, basically, we took it on the chin in our league match against Liverpool because I knew what I wanted to do in this final match.
So you're saving it.
And I saved our tactics so that it couldn't be countered.
Yeah.
So if we would have won with those tactics in the league, we probably would have lost. Like they would have figured something out. So all that to say,
so they definitely did some form of effort to shut Salah down. I was watching
think that's
it,
probably the case. I really do.
Figure it out.
I couldn't either.
Other than the fact that whoever was on his side,
I don't think is Livramento.
It didn't help that.
Yes.
That his service. Who was who was playing in position for
Kwanzaa? It was
Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa was giving him no offensive help on that side. So that did not help at all.
I don't think Livramento shut him down and had him in his pocket. I honestly believe that Liverpool missed Trent and his like Trent's ability to pick a pass.
Yeah.
Is,
no, for sure.
Is extremely unique.
You could argue that he's best in the world at it.
And I would argue that Trent and even Bradley to some extent, because Bradley has a lot of good offensive qualities, and he plays in a similar mentality.
Agree.
I think that has actually contributed to Salah being able to do what he's been able to do this season. Is that having someone as dangerous as Trent Alexander-Arnold makes it really difficult to defend not just one player, but two players on that side.
That's right. I agree.
And so even if they do end up, throwing numbers over there, then the middle's open or the far side's open, and those guys can throw the ball on a dime and switch the field if they needed to. So I really do think that Kwanzaa didn't do a bad job defensively, but Kwanzaa wasn't enough to free up Salah.
He doesn't, as they say across the pond, it's not in his locker.
No, I mean, he's a center back.
I think also as well what they did was, and I guess I'm bringing this up because if other teams, a lot of times in professional sports, when someone figures out how to do something like Newcastle did, is there a chance that other teams will cut? Because other teams are going to be looking at that and saying, what did Newcastle do? I think they also figured out a way to just completely, obviously he wasn't getting service from Kwanzaa, and Trent and Bradley were not coming in the game. And if that continues, that's going to be difficult. Now I don't know if that's going to continue, but I also
don't think it was crazy.
They did something on the right side. The Newcastle midfield bossed the Liverpool midfield unlike any other team I've seen all season. Guimaraes, Joelinton, and I'm leaving someone out who deserves credit, who's in that midfield.
Those are the two. Those are definitely two. Joelinton especially.
Joelinton was unbelievable in that game. Bruno Guimaraes was unbelievable in that game. And I'm leaving someone out who deserves to be mentioned. But
Murphy was on it
I
for a
think
while.
they did. Yeah, but he's more playing on the wing.
Harvey Barnes played for a good chunk too.
He was on the wing too. They were playing a concerted effort to make sure that I think anytime the ball went on that side to either double or triple team that we're not triple teaming.
They created mismatches.
Service so that the ball had no option but to go back to the other side of the pitch.
Yeah,
and they did it so well. And because Kwanzaa lacked any type of offensive skills going forward, it truly negated Salah in the game. And I'm not sure I've ever seen that.
Liverpool lacked any kind of penetrating efforts. Everything seemed very blunt, and it was just recycle over and over again. They couldn't win a second ball to save their lives, and honestly, it really looked like they were tired and they were out of ideas. And truthfully, the team probably was a little bit. Because when we're relying on creativity from a guy that can't get the ball and a guy that's not on the pitch, it was
Tonali. I'm sorry, Tonali.
He was okay.
No, he was pretty good.
He was okay.
He was really good. I'm telling you, those three, Newcastle would be first in the table if those three were able to show up and do every week like they did in that match.
I know Joelinton's having a great season.
So good.
I have said this many times. I think he has found his position, at least in the Premier League, and he is definitely one of the best. His story is
fantastic.
Definitely one of the best.
I would take that guy. I would take that guy on my team.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless. If it came out that Arsenal was in the rumors of transferring in for Joelinton, I would love it.
I mean, Joelinton for Partey, I'd take that in a heartbeat.
I love that he used to be a striker. Eddie Howe said, "Hey, let's try this." And he has just excelled in that position.
He's a big boy, too, so, I mean, he just puts himself about.
And he just works, man. He's a workhorse. Yeah. Anyways.
All I have to say, it was a rough one.
Is that going to affect Liverpool going forward?
No, I don't think so. I think that these guys had heavy legs. They've played a lot of minutes. Our rotation is taken a hit as we have gotten some key injuries that have made rotation difficult.
Other than Trent. But Trent will be healthy now, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. I mean,
the
question is he even going to get on the pitch, right?
Well, we'll discuss that, but what other injuries?
Gakpo's been a problem.
He came on, but you could tell he was not 100%.
Yeah, he was hurt. Yeah. And that honestly, that really hurt us. And then
Jota didn't give you much. Darwin
again, and
tries
Jota's
as
just coming
usual.
back from injury, and it just hasn't picked up since. So I think that's the big thing for us is and then you got guys like Konate who was removed from the previous match early as a scare. He ended up playing, but not 100%. So I mean, anytime you got and the other part is we didn't play Allison. Right, and I don't think it mattered.
I don't think it mattered.
But we didn't play Allison.
Kelleher's starting for almost every team in the Premier League.
I would.
I mean, save 4 teams maybe. He's probably not starting over Raya. He's not starting over Ederson, and he's not starting over Allison.
I don't know. I think
he could start over Ederson.
I really do think he could over most of those guys.
No, you know what? You're right because Ortega.
Yeah.
Pep could have started Ederson the other day, and he started Ortega. So.
And we'll find out. We'll certainly find out. So,
anyways,
all of that said, it was not a good couple of weeks for Liverpool.
He's not starting over Nick Pope.
That break couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, I mean, it allowed Real Madrid to get their contract work done. It allowed Dom Szoboszlai to finally get married.
Wow,
that's exciting.
It allowed a lot of guys to get a solid rest. I am really, really, really hoping that this is the break that they needed. The major issue for me though is
went away on an international break.
That's exactly the point I was going to make. I think the vast majority of the team went away. Allison picked up a concussion. I think he'll be fit for Everton. It'll be fine. Gravenberch came back with an injury. Szoboszlai played full minutes for multiple matches. So there's a lot of. I mean, again, McAllister's another one who played full minutes. Diaz played full minutes for multiple matches. So I think we've got.
Do you have enough to? Again, so
there's a lot that needs to happen.
Here's my thing, and this would be my argument to you. This is why I still feel like. It's Liverpool's title.
It's ours to lose. I will say that there's no question.
But
when you're 12 points ahead at this stage, it's ours to lose.
Even if you stumble a little bit.
I think we have the capacity to lose it.
This is what I told my brother.
No way.
I think we have the capacity to lose it.
You might have the capacity to lose it.
What happened?
Hold on, freeze. Let me finish. You're right. You might have the capacity to lose it. On the flip side of that, and this is what I was telling my brother in multiple conversations, there's no other team, including mine, the closest, that has been playing great, chasing Liverpool down the stretch. There's nobody, and I want my team to do that. They haven't been doing that. They've had chances. Liverpool has slipped up over the last 4 or 5 match weeks, and Arsenal's done nothing with it. That's why I think it is undeniable Liverpool will be winning the Premier League title.
I hope that's true.
Because even if they do falter, there's no one who's red hot coming in to catch them. And yes, you're
not
right.
going to take much, though.
9 match weeks.
That's a lot of time. That's a lot
9
of
match
matches.
weeks. Arsenal would have to win every single game, which could be possible. I doubt it because they have not proven it in the second half of the season. Now, Ryan, we'll get to this.
Possible.
We think Saka's coming back, maybe next game. But come on, that's the first game he's played in 4 months.
Yeah.
What's that going to be like? And yes, could that give a lift to the team? Very possibly. Is he going to come in like he was where he went out? That never happens. Ever happens.
Fitness is always an issue too. So he's gonna have to ease in. So it'll be a couple weeks before he gets any meaningful minutes.
Can Arsenal hang around and survive until maybe they get a little bit of a spark? And the answer is maybe. But again, they have not proven over the look. Arsenal has lost the Premier League title the last 2 seasons because they couldn't close. So I have zero faith that Arsenal can absolutely win out, and then even if Liverpool stumbles, to put a little pressure on them, I doubt that.
Liverpool last year had a chance to win the title. They were really, really cooking there for a while. And when news came out that Jurgen Klopp was not returning,
you're right. That was an issue.
They nosedived, man.
All right.
So my fear is that now that everything is seemingly done and dusted
With
on
Trent
leaving.
Yes.
Which I do want. You were giving me a hard time the other day about, oh, am I so sad? Well, I'm disappointed, but I'm on the record here saying this is what I expected to happen.
Okay.
Right. So when we talked about this originally with the three big guys that are out of contract, my expectation is that Trent, I would not be surprised if he left because he's won everything possible. Everything on the table at Liverpool, he has won.
Yeah.
Right? So would he go someplace else for a different challenge to try something different? Wouldn't be surprised,
Okay.
right? And all the noise coming out was seemingly spoke to this being an inevitability. So I've been preparing myself for this for a while. So not super devastated, disappointed certainly, but I think I kind of been building to this. The team, though, I think.
Do you think the team knew?
I got to imagine they know something.
Okay, so but did they
about
know,
all of them, all three of them?
But did they know? So this, if I'm a Liverpool fan, this is my concern going down the stretch here. Number one, news comes out that Trent's leaving. Okay, and maybe everyone kind of knew it. Were players talking about it? I don't know. Now, most of them are professionals. They understand how contracts work, who can go get money, whatever. My concern, if I'm a Liverpool fan, is wait a minute. We still don't have Salah re-signed. We still don't have Virgil re-signed. Trent is for sure leaving.
That literally from the leadership group leaves Allison and Robertson.
So hold on. Hear me out. So,
that's kind of concerning.
Oftentimes,
which isn't bad. I mean,
I've referenced this for years. There's certain sports that need cohesion in the locker room. For whatever reason, baseball, which is so weird because of how how the sport is set up, baseball and soccer and/or world football have a weird dynamic that if the locker room isn't cohesive and going in the right direction, it shows itself on the field. You don't notice it as much in basketball, and you don't notice it as much. Well, you don't notice it at all in American football. And
do you notice it in cricket or rugby? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I'm just curious.
No, I doubt in rugby. So my concern is if the locker room, if Slot can't figure out how to figure out the locker room, and if things aren't completely cohesive, because if I'm hearing it and the reports are that Madrid and Trent had talked 3 years ago and they told him to let your contract run out and we will sign you then. Let's go back 3 years ago. Hold on. That is fact. And 3 years ago, they were also playing, or 2 years ago, playing Real Madrid in the Champions League final. Did Trent know that, and did that actually affect? I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I don't see that as being likely.
If I'm a player,
couple of reasons. One being given that Real Madrid loves to talk about how everybody else is tapping everybody else up and doing unfair things. So that would have been technically illegal because they would need to have had approached the club to speak to him. The other part of it is that they offered money for him in January. They tried to buy him in January.
I think it's a smoke.
So if the it's definitely a play.
If they made an offer to Liverpool and Liverpool didn't take it,
what are we supposed to do? Like, what are you supposed to let him
for free?
Yeah, but
get some money for him.
You don't win the league in January.
Horrible business.
You win the league in May.
Fine,
right? And May is a long ways away.
Now you have an issue with everyone knew that he's been talking to Madrid for possibly up to 3 years, and now he's leaving on a free because you can't sell him now. It's gone. Your chance was in January. Regardless of what you're trying to do in the league in January, it doesn't matter. It's a business move. So now, if I'm Slot, is Trent going to give me 100% going out the rest of the season?
So
that is an issue.
Name a player that Liverpool has let go for free that has set the world on fire when they left.
Doesn't matter.
And that's well, it does matter because guys like Sadio Mane who are not Trent. But guys like Sadio Mane who are in their prime.
Yeah, he was older. He was like in his 31.
He was slamming them for us and then let him go for free. Firmino, again, not in his prime. Let him go for free. Wijnaldum, let him go for free. Right? Guys that had done a lot. let him go. Right?
I understand this.
Right. So
I'm not talking about what he's going to do when he gets there. What I'm saying for this season, I have a player who's under contract who is absolutely leaving 100%. Is he going to be thinking about?
I don't think they knew that he was leaving 100%. I really don't think that they knew he was 100%. He had not. Until, I mean, the news that broke, right? The news that we're listening to right now is he has now turned down the most recent offer. Liverpool's not going to offer something ridiculous if they think he's not coming back, right? So
Travis,
I think they legitimately believed that he still had a desire to stay.
I respect your opinion. It is horrible. Whoever's running, in my opinion, whoever's running the office or his director of personnel, if you're not tapped into your players enough to know that there's no way he's coming back and he's not taking the offer, you have a heart-to-heart in January and say, let's get this done. You're either staying or we're selling you and we're going to get something off of you.
This is not how it works, though. This is not how it works. Like, ultimately, you've got to win football games, right? And you're better off winning like legitimately. Would you rather have $80 million? What honestly, I think they offered $20 million for him.
Okay.
Would you rather have $20 million for Trent, or would you rather have Trent from January to May?
All right, I'll tell you.
And at the end of the day, I think we'd rather have Trent from January to May to ensure that we win the freaking Premier League.
I want this. I want, number one, I want players who want to be there, and if he wants to go, and Artie is
I've seen no indication he doesn't want to be there.
If he's walking out the door, and me and my club is not going to have him at the end of next season, and he's definitely going somewhere else. Now hold on a second. Number one, I'm going to get money. Number two, how do you know he's going to give 100% going out the rest of the season?
They're professionals. What
happens if he gets injured? And
he's injured.
And now Madrid's doesn't. Let's say he tears an ACL. He comes back and tears ACL. And then I know Liverpool doesn't care at this point. But if I'm him, I'm like, I don't want a serious injury. Well, that could hinder my.
They're gonna re-sign him. Who's
gonna re-sign him?
What world would he be in if he tears his ACL and Liverpool has an offer on the table? Liverpool's gonna make out like bandits at that point because he's gonna re-sign with Liverpool.
If I'm Liverpool, I don't want him.
No, not a guy his age.
He's already walking out the door. He's been thinking about walking out the door for the last 3 years.
Now, if he signs a contract, then we're in a much better position as a club. Much better position.
He's not signing a contract.
But that's the other part. Is $20 million for Trent Alexander-Arnold? That's crazy.
I know.
The other part of it is
$20 million more than you would have had.
The other part of it is we have Connor Bradley, and we've needed to invest in a right back for a long time. I don't think Trent Alexander-Arnold is the type of fullback that Slot typically employs. I think when you have a generational talent like him, you use it.
Okay.
But I think that he's ready to bring in someone who fits better tactically.
I understand that and agree 100%. Then you sell him for $20 million, and I don't want a player.
Well, he's not enough.
I don't want a player playing for me who has been thinking about leaving for the last 3 years and is now 100% leaving.
That's an assumption.
It's all facts.
No, it's not. The guy's having a great season. The guy's having a great season. If he wasn't committed, he wouldn't be having the season that he's having.
Now all
the
news is out, and now it's different.
You don't know. He hasn't played a minute since the news has come out. Say that at the end of the season, and if it's true, I'll give it to you. But at this point, he has not played a minute since the news came out.
If I'm his other players, I'm like, bro, are you going to show out or what?
But this is not abnormal for them. Right? Players come and go. Stuff like this happens like crazy.
Not guys.
Virgil van Dijk and Salah are on contracts, on contracts that are ending. If they were leaving, would they be playing like they're playing? Would Salah be on the it doesn't track. Why would it be true for Salah but not true for Trent?
Because Salah is on a record-setting pace in the Premier League.
Because he cares about playing.
And I think
Why can't Trent just think the same thing? Trent's got the mural. Trent's from the city. Why can't he do the same thing?
Because he's not the same person inside. Salah is.
You don't know that?
You can tell. Yeah, I do know. I have sources. Travis.
You're crazy.
Virgil is a guy who cares about every single thing. And Salah does too, and Trent doesn't.
Come to find out, by the way, your
Trent
comments
Trent.
the other day about a couple episodes, but episode or two back about Virgil in the tunnel talking to the PSG guys.
Yeah.
You thought he was apologizing because he had apparently had a spat at the 1-0 Liverpool win with that group of guys in the tunnel earlier, and so he was smoothing things over with those guys because he felt like it was unprofessional.
And that's the type of guy he is, and I respect
Which
that.
is exactly right.
Absolutely
exactly
respect
right.
that. I would have expected to hear that was a conversation than as opposed to him talking about possibly joining them next season.
I mean, he's not
that tracks.
He would not be doing that in a tunnel, right? That's not the type of guy he
My
is.
point. Anyways,
especially because like
it's a lot of Trent
legally he could have done it. You know, he could have literally scheduled a meeting, gone out to dinner with those guys, and talked about it if he wanted to.
For sure.
So why would he do it in the tunnel? Right?
Agree. Well, because it was a camera that wasn't really there. It was kind of far away. Like, he probably didn't know he was on camera doing that. But
but again, same thing. It's a matter of like how much of negotiations is a player doing? Very, very little, right? No agent in their right mind wants a player doing any kind of negotiation. Well, they want to be the guy that is.
You're not talking exact numbers.
You're
not talking exact numbers, but you're like, hey, is there a chance? Woo! Anyways, all right. All that being said, I think, and now I have major question marks of the mentality of Liverpool finishing out. The funny thing is, I don't think it's going to matter because there's no other really good team chasing them down. That's
the schedule is still tough. I do think that the schedule is still meaningful. You've got a Brighton team that is very spirited that they've got to play.
But it's not till late. I think they'll have the league wrapped up when they get to Arsenal and get match week 36. They got Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Oh, Brighton. They don't have to play Brighton. I'm looking at the wrong one.
No, they do. They play Brighton on match week 37.
Oh yeah, there it is.
But and then they close out with Palace. Yes, the last two games are
tough.
You're hoping those last two games don't come down to mattering. Again, there's a lot of teams in there that no one's playing great. So. Honestly, you really need to, after the last two performances, you really kind of need to come out against Everton in this match and kind of lay the wood to them. I just don't
really
know.
Need to, but
I know.
I don't know that we will.
I know. There's question marks. I still own Salah. Tons of people, Brian. Let's bring this back, Brian. We'll let you get a word in here as you fallen asleep for the last 3 minutes.
He's expensive, but so is Cole Palmer.
I've just been bookmarking recipes for biscuits.
Yes, of course you have.
And the sad thing is, you're probably telling the truth.
All right, now hold on. Let's discuss this because we're gonna roll this into injury roundup. Erling, tons of people have sold Salah because of the blank week, and they went to Erling because of a double match week and other things, or the other upcoming City match weeks.
Yeah, man.
Erling went out of the game and was on crutches with his leg in a boot. Brian, can you update me on that?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. So Haaland can start first, and I would just say, this is why you need to wait.
It's got to be ACL, right?
You've been saying this, Brian,
but I don't know what you were supposed to do.
years.
So many people went early on him to get him last week or whatever, and so many really engaged managers. You hated the move. It ended up.
I hated the move.
It was okay.
I didn't like selling Salah so early. Now I get it, but honestly, moving to Haaland just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, but it was. I understand why. I'm sure if. I thought about it afterwards. That
he scored a goal.
If I was,
I mean, his numbers weren't terrible, but for the money was the issue. The money.
Well, I'm just thinking but that
still didn't make sense.
I think for so many people, though, this is top managers. That's the thing. If it was,
yeah. What do they know?
If it was like I'm 11 million rank and I need to chase real bad, I'm selling Salah to get Haaland. That would be one thing. But this was like, this is pretty much everybody who is
10K,
easily
the guys that have already proven that they're making good decisions.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I thought about it because if I had free hit or wild card or whatever, I'm sure I would have put him in.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I would have been dragged into the temptation to captain him, not Bruno, and it would have been an okay captain, not a great one.
Sure.
and that's a huge point swing. So just thinking in those terms, like what you kind of sometimes you
and last week
sometimes you make 10% of the shots that you miss.
Interesting.
No, I'm just.
Well, no, last week was a big, huge, massive separation. I was able, even though I had 2 players, I did not take a hit. I had 2 transfers going into last match week. I did not take a hit, and I thought I had 10 guys playing. I knew Salah wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And then Cole Palmer doesn't play. So then
Yeah.
I only have 8 guys play. But I captained Bruno, still turned in a match week of 70.
That's
Brian,
amazing.
you had 68. And I'm only
Incredible.
saying that because the average for the week was 40.
Yeah.
So 30 points, especially when the average is 40.
Yeah.
Sometimes the average is like 65, and there's teams that are turning 110. I don't know what the percent difference is or whatever, but like the 40 to 70 just feels like
That's enormous.
a bigger distance. And so I was really pumped about that. I kind of couldn't believe it. I got a little lucky with some things, but it just
Yeah. No, but I'm saying that I understand. I understand the move to Holland. On paper, it was okay, but so if you already, the thing is, 132,000 transfers in for him in this game week already. So I don't know if it counts. I can't remember. I don't think the transfers in includes wild card transfers. I think it's like
Seriously?
actual. I think. I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure because obviously if you're on a wild card, this is an easy correction. But if you've already made the move, then I really don't know what to tell you because, like you said, Pep offered predictably nothing about the injury. Saw him on the massage table, but didn't speak with him or the doctor, so he doesn't know. So whatever. But we did. Everyone saw him on crutches and in a walking boot. So you just think a minimum he's not going to be there midweek. I mean, this is 2 days away or whatever, 3 days until they play Leicester, I think. So no point. I just don't. I don't know how unless you have a way to cover it, you're not buying him. You need to stop buying him or whatever. I just don't think you can't risk it. Chris Wood, in a segment I like to call, "Why did I agree to this?" Chris Wood, hip injury while on international duty with New Zealand, missed the FA Cup this weekend, obviously. And then Nuno's update when asked about him after the match, it made it sound like he was like about to die. It was like, it's not good. Like,
oh really?
Oh yeah, it was like a lot of pain. Like we just hope he can be back with us soon is the thing, and it's just like
so
he's
Woods
not coming back soon.
Woods out.
Oh, there's no way. But based on the way Nuno responded to the question, it was basically just like, let's talk about the guys who are here.
Oh wow.
We just hope to see him soon. Is the idea, and it's like, well, he's not playing this week then, so that's a problem for people. Mateta played against Fulham, so that was good to see that he played. He didn't look particularly sharp, but whatever. I mean, his ear almost got taken off, so I understand why he's hesitant. Cole Palmer back in training, which was so anybody selling. I understand why.
Palmer is he?
So he is
play?
training. I would imagine so. So in training, photos in training is always better than not spotted at training.
Facts.
And might have just needed the break. So that's good. Yet another what could have been probably for Anthony Gordon. Might be one of the number one, if not a top transfer in, I think, this week, given everything with Newcastle. But he had a midsection injury.
I was going to say he did not play in the EFL Cup final.
Right. Likely out this game week. I think he still is suspended.
Yeah, through the 7th, I think.
So minimum he's out. He's already out this game week, but whatever. It just explains why so many Jacob Murphy's in so many wild card drafts that people are sharing. Trent, even if he's okay, do you really want a trader in your team? That's how I wrote it.
Yes,
like a week ago.
That's kind of my angle. I didn't word it like that.
I get the sense that he's going to want to go out and make a name for himself.
We never got clarity on
do this again. Give himself a reason to be able to do this again.
But we never got clarity on. Hopefully, he can play again this season, right?
Yeah.
What's his injury, Travis? I honestly don't know.
Was it ankle or knee?
It's unclear at this point.
whatever hurt him.
Your
it was when
sources suck.
See, this is where
it's an ankle foot injury.
See, this is
right?
where you can't. Maybe you're not reading him right. Remember when he was down with his injury, he pulled his shirt over his head. That's passion.
I forgot about that.
But none of the Liverpool. Well, we can talk about that later. The rest of the Liverpool defenders. Dave, when is Saka fit?
Never.
Great question.
FPL had the audacity to put him in their like wild card
teams?
like bus team. Yeah, for if you're wild card in game week 30.
Man,
Ben Dinnery says mid-April. I trust that more. So I wouldn't think that he's going to just jump back into full fitness.
Even
when he comes back.
If
even
the
if he
word
comes back
out
in mid-April.
and I doubt he would come right back into the starting lineup.
no
right,
way.
he's at minimum gonna sub in the first game.
Right.
Maybe the first 2 games. Well, nah, that's not true. When he's fit, he'll sub in the first game, and then the next game he'll start. And I'm not getting near him until that happens. And even so. Yes, he was having a great first half of the season until he got hurt, but still, he's been out 4 months.
But he's not a player that's why I'm wondering why you would jump back to him immediately, especially now.
No way.
If you're wild card.
Don't understand.
No way.
So anyway, good. I'm glad we all agree.
No way.
Ollie Watkins looked like he was injured, but then he was training again. I don't know, like a few days ago or something like that. So he's probably
He played
fine.
today.
Nicholas Jackson and Noni Madueke are both training again for Chelsea. Could be back. Not buying them. It's just that so many people had gone to Nkunku.
Yeah.
There's all like I think the Chelsea attack was a little more desirable when
Chelsea
there was
kind of
a lot of
slumping a little bit.
Oh,
It
yeah,
felt
they're
like going into the.
awful. I'm just saying
They're not good when Palmer's not playing.
I just wonder with the limited like boost that some of those other like the peripheral players
Going into the break, Chelsea had lost 3 out of 5 games, only beating Southampton and Leicester.
Travis, does Mikolenko's injury matter or not matter at all to you for the Merseyside derby second leg?
Does not matter to me.
Because Mikolenko's injury was not as bad as initially feared, so it should be fine to pocket Salah again.
Oh,
and he will only score 10 points this time, and not.
Yeah, Mikolenko just defensively isn't the guy that does that, though.
No,
he's just not.
I mean, that was with the tongue in cheek that was implied.
Yeah,
in the only holding him to 10 fantasy points.
And then
that's a scary match.
Matheus Cunha picked up an additional game suspension while he was doing nothing, so he's now out until game week 32. Jurgen Strand-Larsen also
not a
triangled.
Not a Wood replacement. Cunha, obviously.
No, we'll talk about that when we get to. So that's kind of it. I feel like those are the main players. I mean, like just looking at my team, I've got Mikolenko with the triangle again, should be fine. Trent, orange triangle. Palmer has still yellow triangled, but his yellow triangle is not severe. Chris Wood was yellow triangle, but his is should be orange at least, is the way it sounds. And then beyond that, I mean, most of the people that Haaland is the one that I think that just messed up so many plans. But it also made, I agree with, I think it was it Let's Talk FPL, Andy, I think was the one that said basically like Haaland's injury just makes this whole thing now boring. Because if you can, you're going straight back to Salah. That was the whole point of moving to him.
I hope people don't.
Anyway.
Did his ownership drop at all? Salah's ownership is still at pretty much 70%, 69.8.
It'd be insane to sell him now, but whatever.
This match week was so long, I forgot that I had made a transfer, and that's so annoying that I don't have a free transfer to move out Chris Wood.
Oh man, yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about that.
By the way, my personal upfront opinion: we are paid to give our opinions on this podcast. Paid a lot of money.
That's lucrative.
Mateta. I mean, it's if you don't have Mateta or Vissa to replace Wood, that's where I would go.
I'm debating. Mateta is a little bit early, I think. Just
we'll talk about it. No way.
So let's talk about the next thing. Would be FA Cup fallout. Our cups runneth over here.
Yeah.
So we already knew if we had done this earlier, we would have said Aston Villa certain to advance or nearly certain to advance, which they did. So they get Crystal Palace.
It was touch and go there for a while. They scored those goals late.
Yeah,
late.
But the other games I think were coin flip. And I think, to me, even Crystal Palace Fulham, to me,
it's a coin flip. And they demolished them.
Right. So that's why I think all these other games were rightly kind of down to the wire. But it's Aston Villa and Crystal Palace in one semifinal, Nottingham Forest, Manchester City in the other semifinal. It's amazing we get to see Nottingham Forest knock Manchester City out of the last.
I don't know. Forest was struggling against Brighton. Like it was literally a coin flip with some pretty terrible penalties from Brighton.
Yeah, I was going to say they easily could have lost that.
That's because Forest actually has international players and Brighton doesn't. I'm kidding. I don't know that to be fact.
So what we also know,
Henschel would have missed it. He was.
We only know that double game week 32 that's the only thing that's confirmed. Double game week 33, we're only doing as much like this is only Ben Crellin's legwork on predicting where the doubles are going to go. But there's nothing official yet. But what it looks like: Bournemouth and Arsenal, Crystal Palace double game week with home against Bournemouth at Arsenal, Manchester City at Everton and home to Aston Villa, Aston Villa home to Newcastle at Manchester City, Arsenal at Ipswich. Home Crystal Palace,
which is awesome for Arsenal.
Is it
for Arsenal players? Yes, absolutely. I want doubles on Arsenal for that.
Yeah, that's what we need.
I don't love that Crystal Palace match.
I was gonna say,
I love that.
So, and then we know the blank game week 34.
The one week,
for sure. The blank game week 34 is certain because that's FPL app.
So
that is FPL certain. Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Manchester City, Villa, and Brentford, Nottingham Forest. 100% are blank
in 34
in game week 34. The FPL. So this is a jump. No, we're not going to jump into chip strategy exactly right this second, but obviously free hit if you still have that left. I think that's probably enough. Yeah, the game week 34 probably,
which I have
right.
Yes.
But FPL app, as of a little bit ago, still was saying TBD on all how the rescheduled double where these extra fixtures are going to go. Presumably, Ben Crellin's done a great job forever. Just if it's game week 33 or whatever.
Yeah.
But wherever, I'm sure we'll find out soon. Which is the one thing when we're talking about your chip strategy, when you're talking about who to buy or whatever. It's the reason why, like. I as much as I have, if I wild carded right now, I'd only keep probably 4 people.
Oh wow!
I think most of the team are players that can easily go, or that I would swap out for somebody else or whatever. I'm just so hesitant to make any moves until there's some kind of like announcement.
So
I'm
32 double, possible
really
33 double.
Yeah,
with a blank in 34.
Yep.
And the teams playing in 34 that are blanking are doubling in either 32 or 33. Is that
or
my
both
understanding?
if you're Crystal Palace?
Right. So you're going to pile up on all of those teams that are playing in the double week, which means you're certain to have nearly no one on your real team available for 34. So the moves. So
move for 32, 33. Free hit 34.
And Palace is doubling in 32 and 33.
They might.
Sounds like it.
That's amazing because I already have 2 Palace players. Let's go.
So obviously, I think the biggest factor for what your moves are, who you're buying, and what you're considering here is, the first thing would be remaining chips. Do you have a wild card left? Do you have, which of the triple captain bench boosts? Or assistant manager? Which actually, I think assistant manager. You thought it was good earlier
now
to use
really gets
Glasner.
Good. No, Glasner would be great.
If Glasner, right, and I think that's the most. If they get double, back-to-back doubles, then I think anyone with that chip remaining, it's like
31, 32, 33 for sure. Yeah,
but 100%. Wild card, so I think right now, I don't know that in my.
Well, you need to activate that now.
Why can't
No, because you don't want it in 33. No. You're right.
You need
it want
next
31, 32,
next week
33.
at the earliest.
You're right.
32 at the latest. But that's the issue, though. You
because
can go 32, 33.
You don't want the AM.
So if you free hit, though,
week.
Can you change your assistant manager?
You can't free hit when assistant manager is activated.
Can't. That's exactly right.
So that's why it's got to be not this week.
Next week.
You were right. It's 31. You'd have to activate it so you have it for 31, 32, 33 because 34 is a blank and you don't want it on a blank.
Anyone with a wild card is either activating it right this minute because of all of the way that the Holland plan's messed up, or they're activating it next week, which is I still am preferring to do that. I'm more tempted to take a hit for attacking players this week and then wild card next week.
Really?
Mostly because I hate the matchups are so good, and to me the players, like I'm losing Chris Wood, so it's
right.
Chris Wood going out, so I'm already like,
right.
There's the uncertainty with Cole Palmer. I'm losing like in defense. I don't get to play. Trent is out. I may, I'm not going to play Mikolenko, and wouldn't play either of the Everton defenders that I have. I'm already not loving having to play one of them, against Liverpool. But whatever,
O'Brien.
that's who it's gonna be. And maybe he'll score again. Who knows?
Probably.
But Holland, the injury to Holland, I think that jacks up pretty much everybody who went for. I mean, obviously,
Which
jacks
I
up
love
if he went last week.
because I don't have him, so that's
I just
amazing.
think so. It's weird because it's possible that something. The postponements or reschedules or whatever, especially because Brentford Nottingham Forest needs to go somewhere. And as of a little bit ago, Ben Crellin was saying, I mean, there's no telling whether it could go. It might go in game week 33. It could go in game week 35. It could go in game week 36.
Oh, wow.
That changes, especially for Brentford. One of the, we'll talk about when we get to buys and sells, but Bumo is one of the most sold midfielders right now.
And you're like, why?
The regret of that, if Brentford, for example, if it gets moved to game week 33, Brentford, it's not great. You would get Brighton and Nottingham Forest, but you'd still get a double game week.
Sure.
And he's capable of scoring.
Right, everyone's
in
buying
capable of
players for
scoring
double
against
game week.
anyone.
That's what I'm saying. Wissa went up in price last night, despite their less than attractive schedule.
Yeah, it's
and
not
I'm like,
great.
And Bumo's got Bumo is on the third or fourth most transferred out of all midfielders right now. So
I don't understand that.
Only because the colors, Dave.
Oh, the colors.
The colors are gray and red. Oh. You can't have players playing in gray and red games.
Wow. What do you do?
If you still have your assistant manager chip, like we said,
31.
Everyone's pointed it out. You can find it just about everywhere.
31.
Game weeks 31 to 33. They get. So if Bournemouth gets moved to 33, you'd get Crystal Palace at home to Brighton. Your favorite game.
Oh, the A29, the M26 million derby.
The Dave Smith Derby.
Oh, my gosh. Seriously.
Potential. It should be table bonus available in that game. Manchester City and Newcastle, both away in game week 32. Nearly certainly table bonus available in both of those games.
Unbelievable.
And then home Bournemouth at Arsenal in 33, which is no chance of a table bonus against Bournemouth, but it is a home game.
Again.
And then
Table
away
bonus,
to Arsenal,
absolutely.
table bonus available. If they hold their away form in those three games, Oliver Glasner will be worth 70 points. It'll be worth $1 million. Because you have the potential for double digits. In
if I had mine, there
games.
is no doubt I would be queuing it up next week.
If for some reason game week 33 isn't a double for Crystal Palace, which is maybe unlikely but possible, Eddie Howe would become interesting. The Newcastle because they would get
United
Leicester. It would starting game week 31. It would be Newcastle at Leicester, a double with home double with Manchester United, Crystal Palace, and then at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
So there's at least those games are playable. Or Unai Emery, I think probably equally interesting because they get a home game against a Chris Woodless, probably Nottingham Forest, at Southampton, and then a double with Newcastle and Manchester City.
Yeah.
So there are other options. I just think
That's
the way
glaring.
What you've seen with Glasner is way Crystal Palace they're just transformed. It just feels so different with them. Bench boost, I don't see how everyone's not trying to, if you have it available, unless you're playing another chip, bench boost 33, biggest remaining double game week. I just feel like it's too tempting for anyone who still has it to pass it up. So you're probably building for bench boost 33. And then the insane people who still have their triple captain left, which I'm one of them.
I do too.
Great. So the options are bad. I don't love any of it.
Really?
Well, I mean, look at it.
Because we're bench boosting in 33, probably.
Want to play it against Isak. If they have a double in 32, they're home to Manchester United, home to Crystal Palace.
It's not great.
It's 2 games.
It's fine.
That's why you would do it.
But it's not great. Although, I don't know.
So if it's not him, the city doubles whenever the city doubles happen. So game week. So if it's 33 at Everton, home Villa.
City just doesn't look.
It was going to be Holland.
Right,
but that's exactly it.
What, you going to go with Marmouche?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Absolutely. Sure.
Maybe.
You know, honestly, I watched the City match today. You know who actually looked really, really sharp?
Jack Grealish.
Well, yes.
Foden?
No.
Marmouche.
KDB.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Oh, really?
He looked like he was playing
really
full
good?
speed for the first time this season.
Oh.
Like legitimately full speed. Like sprinting around the pitch.
Plus he
full
was angry.
He was mad.
Yeah.
He was definitely mad. He was arguing with everyone. But it was the first match I've seen of him in probably 2 years where he was actually playing at the same speed as everybody else, or maybe even a notch above.
His price though is probably
no. I'm not saying buy him.
I'm
not saying buy him, but that was something else.
Or
man.
less than 9. You could fit him in your midfield.
Just throwing it out there.
Game week 36 is possible double game week for City. That would require a lot. So that one's okay because it's at Southampton and home Bournemouth. But that requires a lot. And by then, who knows? I guess in double if the Nottingham Forest game, if it gets rescheduled to game week 36, Nottingham Forest man, whoever that is, wouldn't be insane because it would be home Leicester, plus either home Brentford or at West Ham.
Oh,
it's too hard to pick a Bournemouth person.
But that's a Nottingham Forest.
Sorry, it's too hard to pick a Bournemouth person or a Nottingham Forest person,
right?
Because everything's so spread out with both of them.
Yeah,
I agree.
So even that you're like, well, it's good matchups, but do I want to really put it on? And then if Crystal Palace would, for some reason, if they were to get a double in 36, they'd be at Spurs, home Wolves. So I think that's as good. That might be the best pairing.
Ismail Sarr,
Mateta, Eze, end of season. Eze might come
who
back.
also scored today.
I have Sarr on my team.
Yeah.
Eze's goal was great.
Otherwise, you're sticking it on Salah at Leicester in game week 33.
You'd think
and
so.
just hoping that they smash them. That's the only other way you're doing it. And to me, that's like the most boring.
I don't hate the Isak
desirable option.
United and was it United and Brighton? I don't hate
Crystal
that
Palace.
In 33. Or is it United and Palace
at home?
They get
33.
They get power or 32.
32. 33 is Villa.
32. It's already in the books
Palace.
here. It's 2 home games for Newcastle. Home United, home Palace.
Yeah, that's not a bad.
I don't hate that.
90% of people are going there, right?
For triple captain, probably. That's probably where I'm leaning at the moment. I never have. By the way, I've never have triple captains work, so I would encourage anyone to, if they hear me whisper about when to play a triple captain, don't follow me.
Hey, I already slammed.
I mess that chip
slam dunked mine
every year. I mess that chip up every year.
There's
the only thing good I've done this year.
There's some variations. I mean, you can find some folks who are going to tell you which way they are going with their chip strategy if they've got 2 or 3 or 4 chips left or whatever. I don't know, man. I think it's so weird to see people who underestimate, like you count like game week 32 if you're going to, or whatever, if you're going to use a double, like FPL Ched, CHED. This is like some guy.
Some guy.
You're really digging deep on these.
He said he's thinking of bench boosting in 32 because double Palace, double Newcastle, plus Salah and whoever you have from Liverpool
Leicester
against West Ham. This is 32.
Okay.
Holland, Manchester City home to Crystal Palace. So I look at that and I'm like,
That's not easy.
None of this sounds all that
that's
great.
not appealing to me in any
You're just
any
looking
way.
at Palace's place in the table,
No,
completely throwing form out.
Are they?
I mean, what are they doing?
Green?
Oh, man.
And then Arsenal home to Brentford. I mean, I guess.
Home. You like home.
It's
Playing
just
them at
at
home.
home.
Who's owning Arsenal players right now?
Well, I want to ask you that when we
I
get down.
own zero
I'm just
at
saying,
the
like, you
moment.
go through the list and you're like,
Wow.
well, these aren't like. There's nothing that's like all that. I mean, I guess it could work. I mean, there's no reason why it would. It could work weeks you don't expect. I mean, whatever. But it just seems like this is less desirable than like even 2 weeks later, where you or a week later, where you have way more teams doubling. Whatever. So it just.
All right.
But it's there. It's there. It's
Don't
just
follow
this is
Ched.
This is content that's available. I'm just saying. Like, we'll throw the name out there. I just want to make sure. But anyway, the template.
I can't believe you just blew that guy up.
No, I don't know him. He might be
You're
awesome. He's probably
mean.
higher. He's probably higher ranked than I am.
I guarantee he's higher ranked than I am.
So, for purchases, like I hope you guys are ready for a frontline template of Isak, Mateta, and Manchester City forward, because that's what it's going to be.
Or Vissa?
No, Isak, Mateta,
Vissa's
Marmoush.
not even in there.
Because
Yeah.
Marmoush is
he
like
a forward? I thought he was a midfielder.
you
No,
wish.
he's marked
If he was a
as forward.
midfielder, he'd be in every team.
Easy. Yeah.
Oh, well,
100% easy.
then he's who I bring in for Wood.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's worth a hit
You
for
can
me
afford
to do
it
it
for
this
sure.
week.
Yeah, Isak, Mateta, and Marmoush is now going to take over.
I like Vissa, but that's not a bad template.
I if I could change Vissa for Mateta at the moment, I would.
Does Isak
Really?
For free. Yeah.
Does Isak drink?
You're afraid of the
If so, is he still drunk right now
from what?
from winning the cup?
Oh, I forgot about that.
They just did their parade.
How about that?
I don't know, man. Isak to me is still probably far and away number one.
Yeah.
I don't have him. So
I really like the Marmoush play.
Yeah, you're such a fan.
And
I know.
Marmoush price 7.3. Chris Wood for
high.
me is a 6.8. Actually, that's not true. Well, technically, his price is 6.8. For me, he's worth 7.3. But still, so it's a even Steven type of a thing.
So yeah, Isak, Mateta, and Marmoush easily the 1, 2, 3 right now for transfers in. Joao Pedro, he's gonna force some people to think about that third spot. Brighton doubles.
Okay.
It's not a bad pick.
Okay.
I think he only scored one. I think he got a yellow card in the last game. But whatever. Maybe people should be thinking harder about Ollie Watkins. It's just, I don't know. There's Villa's. I don't know what to make of them, and it seems like other people are kind of feel the same way.
I think Villa, and we've talked about this later in the season, in the last quarter of the season, with other teams over the years. Villa still in the FA Cup in the semifinals. Do they play a home and home in the FA Cup semifinals like they do the EFL Cup, or is it one game? I can't remember.
It's in Wembley.
No.
It's a FA.
The final is, but the semifinals.
I think it's at Wembley as well.
So then they're one-offs.
I think the final might be. I can't remember.
I know the finals in Wembley.
Let's find out.
All right. While you're looking that up, Villa also was in the quarterfinals of Champions League.
Right.
And Emery has proven over the years, when he was at Sevilla, they might as well have named the Europa Cup the Sevilla Cup for about 4 or 5 years, because I think Sevilla won it 4 out of 5 years when Emery was there, or something close to that. So Emery kind of knows his way around European football. Villa, against a team, Club Brugge, who was kind of had a really good Champions League season, surprisingly got to the quarterfinals. Or I'm sorry, we're anyways coming into the round of 16. Bottom line is Villa kind of smashed them. I just think that Villa might be kind of prioritizing. They're not.
Yeah, I did confirm.
They're kind of fighting still for top 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Villa in the table is 9th on 45 points, but 4th is 4 points away. So.
FA Cup is semifinal is a one-off, and it is at Wembley.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if
I'm not crazy.
If that's going to be a little bit more prioritized for Emery those two competitions as opposed to the Premier League.
He's notorious for that though too, right? Like he's a tournament.
He's really good at it.
He's a tournament
really good
manager.
At it. Really good at it.
Yeah, and it's just. I think that's why guys like people putting when talking about midfielders, but people putting Asensio in their team. Like, what are you doing? Why would you put him in?
No.
Anyway, midfield. I think that's like the main, because right now, like all the moves were to prioritize Haaland. Well, now that's not.
That doesn't.
Isak
seem to matter.
Mateta, Marmoush, Joao Pedro, understandable, but a clear fourth. And then,
he had a ball in the back of the net,
and then Watkins
happened to be offsides.
And Strand Larson might have still been a consideration if he wasn't. I think it's gonna,
maybe injured.
It's going to cool off on him because of triangle, and everybody else that you look at, like Dominic Solanke started the last two. What are you going to do? You can buy Solanke? You crazy? Like, there's nobody else where you're like, oh, it's got to be that guy. So I think you're probably but Wissa's the one other guy that
Wissa's
people were buying,
other than the red schedule.
Hey, I like Kluivert.
He's not forward.
No, forward.
Evan Nielsen, I guess.
Evan Nielsen's not a bad one. He did score today.
Yeah, true.
Although it was a clean up the trash, it was probably going over the line anyways. I think they gave him the credit for it, but I don't think he actually scored it.
Midfield, moving to midfield.
I think it was an own goal.
Midfield is weird because Salah is now staying in everyone's team. Not like he was leaving a ton of teams anyway, but he's staying.
For now. But if the Everton match goes like their previous couple matches have gone,
that's interesting.
We're going to have that conversation again next week.
That's really interesting.
We're going to have that conversation again.
It's going to be at the next two games. Luis Diaz is going to outscore him, and where everybody's going to go back to the same thing again.
I doubt that, but yeah.
Bruno Fernandes now up to 20% selected because he's undeniable right now.
With the facts.
Then it's a smattering of double game weekers. It's some assortment of Sarr, Eze, Jacob Murphy for now. Anthony Gordon might be a stronger consideration if fitness updates improve. A Villa midfielder maybe, but picking Rodgers seems boring. Picking Rashford or Asensio almost makes you ill.
Yeah. Rashford?
He scored 2 today.
Yeah.
I know.
Saka, really? Like, you're not doing that. Dave, is there another Arsenal midfielder that you even care about?
No. I don't even know who's playing.
Right, that's what I mean.
Kidding. No. Seriously, though. I haven't owned an Arsenal player.
Marino.
He keeps scoring. Why not?
Yes, he would be the one. Especially if you're moving money. No, because he's playing in the striker position, we always love people who play more advanced. And Marino has not been bad. In fact, I think he has more goals than Haaland on the year. Or something crazy like that.
I don't think that's true. Like in the calendar year, maybe.
In the calendar
2025.
Yeah, that might be true. Yes, that might be true.
I think he's got 4 goals since he's come into that spot.
Year.
Right. I didn't mean the whole season, you silly.
Right.
You silly goose.
Like we already said, Mbumo sales through the roof, but I still think there's a lot of room for regret. Also, by the way, Fantasy Football Scout reminded us about a week ago or something like that. In the reverse fixtures, like all these red fixtures that you're looking at for Brentford, which is largely the reason why people are selling Mbumo. He scored 13 against Newcastle. He scored a 9 against Chelsea, and he went for 7 against you guys. So he went for a total of 29 points in the 3 reverse fixtures in the next 3. Right. So
Bumo, sell him.
Well, 2 out of those 3 were at home, so that's just drawing that out there.
Did any of yins go with Anthony Elanga last?
Thought about it.
You thought about it?
I did not have Elanga. I really
thought about it.
A brace and 3 bonus points and 16 total points for the game week. We get you a lot of new managers, that's for sure. I'm surprised that he's the 5th most transferred in for midfielders. He's got 2 gray fixtures in the next 2 weeks. Gray fixtures.
Wow, gray.
I'm a little bit worried about Forest because they've got a lot of minutes on the legs right now. A lot of minutes on the legs. If
Ipswich can score 2 against them, then anybody can. One quick thing, just because Newcastle's because we'll talk about this with the defenders too. Like I said, tons of Jacob Murphy in a lot of teams. I'm not sure why they're not going with your favorite player, Bruno Guimaraes. as their Newcastle midfielder choice. Here's why. In 2025, Bruno G, 41 points, Jacob Murphy, 37 points. So even since the start of the year,
the calendar year,
Bruno G has outscored him by 4. They've each scored 2 goals.
And Murphy's was a throwaway.
Bruno G has taken 7 shots. Murphy's only taken 10. So it's not like you're looking
Similar
at the
enough.
numbers where you're like, oh, he's shooting a ton more. And Bruno G has created 14 chances to Murphy's 7, 4 of those big chances. Jacob Murphy only 2 big chances created. Like,
the price difference is pretty substantial, though, isn't it?
I'm not sure what the thinking is.
Bruno
It's gotta be money.
6.1, Jacob Murphy 5.0. So
it's got to be the money.
1.1 is significant.
I guess what I'm saying, like, we'll talk about that too. When we get to
Murphy always tends to be in more scoring positions on through balls and other things. Bruno
more
G,
advanced
do
for
anything
sure.
else.
I'm just saying it's just the points and most of the stats favor Bruno G in 2025. I understand definitely the money difference that kind of matters, but is there anybody else? I feel like looking through the midfielder names where you look down through and you're like, I mean,
No.
Jared Bowen this week. Yes.
I personally picked up in the last couple match weeks Jared Bowen.
Okay.
And then I also
You did not.
He played for me last week and got me the assist.
All right.
Okay.
And then I had 2 transfers going into match week 28. Bowen was one of them. And then in match week 29, after match week 29 started, so technically my transfer for this week, I brought in Sar for someone I don't remember who. But
Interesting.
I'm looking at, Brian, so we have match week 30, going into match week 30, then we have 31, 32, 33.
That's how numbers work.
If we're trying to,
He's exactly right.
Let's just go over the teams. If we're trying to slowly add some players over the next 2 weeks, kind of preparing for a bench boost, list that we know.
But that's why I'm saying all of these players. These are all the players that are going to matter. Like that's why I'm saying anybody else, like Luis Diaz, back-to-back assists. The next 4 games, even though they don't double. It's Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, and then Spurs in 34. The next 5 games for Liverpool, where you look at it and you're like, yeah, I can get behind that.
He's going to get minutes.
Right, that's what I mean. So he's gone for
That's probably
he's
a good safe
an
one.
8 and a 6 in the last 2. I get like you hate him, you think he's terrible or whatever, but I think he's just
That's a good shout.
He's
I like
down the list as far as transfers in this week, understandably in my estimation. Like Jared Bowen, Dave, you said, like, look, they got Wolves this week, then it's Bournemouth, then they're Liverpool, whatever. But the end of season for maybe after game week 33, you think about like Jared Bowen could be like just a set and forget kind of quality midfielder. You know, the rest of the guys, like, you know, Bournemouth, like Kluivert's in there because, you know, for most people already, I mean, he's at 35 points. That's a huge percentage, 35.8%.
It's amazing.
Ipswich and West Ham for the next 2. They got the potential. Wait, did they double coming up? But
potentially, but
right. But either way, like he's an understandable.
Oh no,
pick.
not them. No, they're not doubling.
Right. So he's an understandable pick just on the quality of the next 2. He's also one of the reasons why, like, wild carding. If I was wild carding now, I'd be really torn on whether or not to get rid of him. If I wild card next week, he's an easy sell. You know what I mean? Like by the kickoff of the next game week, like I'm totally fine moving him on for one of the other players. Like West Ham's fine. Like that's still a good matchup, but it's not like West Ham's improved. It's not like it's not like they're at the bottom of the table and are just sucking. So
Bournemouth does still have a possibility in 36, by the way, because they have Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, so that could hit.
Right, so that's what I mean.
36.
Like, who else? There's no one else. Foden, Savino, Doku, all of the Manchester City midfielders, other than, like, you know, maybe if you see De Bruyne in there or whatever. I guess, like, Matoma cooled off here the last 3 weeks. He was looked like he was cooking again. Brighton's playing really well, so he's to me a guy that I'm like, I don't hate it. The next few for Brighton, they're home to Aston Villa, at Crystal Palace, home Leicester, at Brentford, home West Ham. Like it gains steam.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not a guy where you're like, oh, I got to have him for Villa, but like at Palace, that's I know it's high stakes.
The $36 million derby.
Right, exactly. You're not picking your guys, so
hold on. I want to throw a little amendment out there to that. 2 guys I would consider bringing in that weren't named Ismail Yassar or Marmoush this week. If you wanted to get wild, and one guy I'm about to say I hate, the other guy is on my team, but guys who, at least form-wise, have been pretty good, and this kind of, up until the last second ago, was a little under radar for me. I poo-pooed 3 weeks ago when all the pros, Brian, were saying, oh, I'm bringing in Mark Cucurella. And then he turned into 15 that week. I'm like,
yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me? What are the freaking chances of that?
And
then he follows it with another 15.
Because they were playing Leicester and Southampton. That was the whole
That's
point.
fine.
Made sense.
Back-to-back games where it was an obvious move that ended up being obvious for a reason.
All right. I'm just saying, is it worth consider possibly adding, and it pains me to say, Cucurella and/or this is the one player I might consider bringing in, an Arsenal defender, but Urian Timber at 5.6.
No, when we talk about
So
when we talk about defenders, when we get down there, then yes, we can talk about that a little bit more. But yes, that's why I'm saying.
And Diego Dallo.
There are no midfielders.
Ooh,
once you get down a certain
Timber or Dallo, I would consider bringing in. I'm not going to take a hit for either one of them this week, but if you're looking at your transfers and like, who could I bring in? I would consider one of those 2.
I don't know if I'm buying a Manchester United defender of any kind, but
All right.
but whatever. But for defensive
Timber.
players,
I brought Timber in last week, and he got me a 9.
I was going to say,
Well done, Travis.
Munoz is
saying.
Munoz is the popular transfer.
I have
and
Munoz
still
already.
only at 16.4% selected, which I'm surprised. I thought it would be higher than that.
That
by
was
now.
a night move for me, by the way.
Just a reminder, though. In 2025, Munoz, the number 1 scoring defender in the calendar year, 1 point ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Who?
Just 1 point.
Wow, Travis. We've been potting together for
so-
a little
you guys are-
while.
We're in sync.
No, you're
Wow.
hateful is what you are.
Wow.
You're hateful. Munoz, 53 points in 2025. He is only 5 points ahead of Mark Gahey. And he's only 8 points ahead of Maxime Lacroix.
Lacroix?
Plus, I would just like to point out, Lacroix, most shot
Super
attempts
cheap.
of any of the Crystal Palace defenders
Interesting.
by a lot. Gahey and Mitchell, Tyrick Mitchell, are the only 2 Crystal Palace defenders to register 2 big chances.
Okay.
They've each had 2. Munoz and Lacroix have 1 each.
Okay.
Interesting.
Tyrick Mitchell and Lacroix have higher XGs in 2025
Really?
than Munoz. Yes. 1.03 for Tyrick, 0.90 for Maxime, and 0.81 for Munoz.
Wow.
The thing is, Munoz creatively, 14 chances created, 3 assists from 14 chances created, 4 big chances created.
Gotcha.
So he's at the top creatively of all defenders for the calendar year. Just saying, like, we're now at the point.
There are other options
right,
out there.
This is Nottingham Forest all over again. The very
versus
popular
Aina
guy,
versus- yeah.
right? The very popular guy,
Aina,
right? How glad are you, by the way,
bro.
that you did not go with all of the people who are like, well, Aina's clearly the number 1 choice for not. Obviously,
He has
not.
2 more points than Milinkovic.
Obviously not. So that's where, to me,
Milinkovic is where I've been.
the money now is enough where you don't necessarily have to go to Munoz.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
think-
not expensive. He's 4.9.
Right.
Well, he's 5'1" now, but he was 4'9"
you're right.
for
I'm
you.
looking at my
Yeah.
transfer.
But I'm
page
just
on
saying, like this is one of those situations where like Crystal Palace, the fixtures, their away form has been great. We talked about that before, but the fixtures aren't good. So this is one of those where you'd want the guy that's the creative guy, or you want the header in the box guy, and that's going to be it's Munoz or Lacroix for that's a toss up. You want to maximize your doubles on Crystal Palace. Like you're probably going to go, it's probably going to you'd go.
I could
you'd
do
go,
it,
you'd go
double
Mateta,
Mateta, Sar, and/or Eze,
and Munoz.
and Munoz.
But I'm saying if somehow for whatever reason the money didn't work for you, I don't think that the other defenders for Crystal Palace are that.
Yeah.
Obviously they're only 5 points off.
Right. They're
Gahey
really
is 5
close.
points off of Munoz, who's the number one defender transferring.
Hold on. I have Gahey at, not that it matters that much, 101, and Munoz at a 112, so 11 points, but whatever.
No, but not in
You're talking about calendar
not
year.
in 2025.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm talking about
understood.
2025.
He's doing
Understood.
what you did.
Understood. That's right.
Yep. Gvardiol's way up there, but
Who cares?
that's all for double game week 23.
Yeah, who cares?
Why is it good?
Yeah.
What's
Who
good?
cares?
What's good about what?
There's no Akanji and there's no Ake, and there's no Stones. Not that he's done anything in a long time, but Manchester City hasn't exactly been throwing down the gauntlet of clean sheets. So
I just don't. That's what I mean. I feel like you're counting on him. You need him for attacking returns. Where exactly are those? It doesn't seem like
I
he's.
still can't believe they beat Spurs 1-0. That's ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't seem like they. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's there. The vibes feel way off or whatever. Dave, Arsenal defender, right now, of course, pretty heavily favors Gabriel. Dave, do you miss Ben White?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear you say that. I thought you would have moved on.
No, I love Ben White. In fact, I think they should put him in the midfield.
Interesting.
Saliba not too far behind as far as transfers in goes. Timber kind of far behind both of them, but here we go again in 2025. In 2025, Dave,
Yes, sir, I'm listening.
that's this calendar year.
That's correct.
Your number one scoring Arsenal defender. Do you know who it is?
It's Timber.
It is not.
What?
It is William Saliba.
Really?
42 points for Saliba in 2025. Number 2, Urian Timber. 37 points. Gabriel at third with 35
Interesting.
points.
He's turned in multiple games. Three of the games in this calendar year, he's had 2 of them 3 bonus points and 1 of them 2 bonus points. So
Gabriel's still your number one shooting Arsenal defender,
Sure.
but the set piece magic has dried up.
the rest of the league is caught up a little bit. They're not falling prey.
They're cooking something.
They haven't
on this
fallen
break.
prey. You're probably
they're gonna
right,
get
Travis.
it. They're coming back.
You're probably right, actually.
Gabriel's got 5 shots in 2025. Calafiore 4.
He's a shooter.
He's healthy again, right?
I think so.
I think he is.
Dave, did you know that Kieran Tierney is the only Arsenal defender credited with a big chance so
So
far?
While their shirt was
25?
tucked in.
Yeah, but hold on. That's a little misleading. He was being right before the break in multiple games. He came in as a left wing sub for Trossard. So like he literally was playing winger, and that's where he got that big chance created.
Dave,
Just
your
saying.
leader
Doesn't
in
matter.
He's
Arsenal,
not starting.
Arsenal, I know it's true. Arsenal defender box touches in the opposition box, Dave, not their own box. In the opposition box, Urian Timber 24.
Seems like a lot.
It's the 4th most of all defenders in the calendar year.
Yeah.
He trails, for example, Mark Cucurella, who has 28.
Okay.
He's number 1,
Okay.
28.
So pretty close.
Timber 24.
Yeah.
It's a difference of 4 for those of you.
Good
Gabriel,
math.
Keep your score.
Gabriel's
Good
chance.
math.
He's
We
your
excel.
Gabe somehow top chance creator for you guys. 5 chances created, which just seems odd. Again, Kieran Tierney, the only Arsenal defender in 2025 credited with a big chance.
I've already clarified how that happened. But
I'm
yes,
just saying.
you're right.
For me,
No one cares.
if Saka shows up, Timber will really
Be a buy.
I would go
because Saka will draw so much more attention, giving him more space, and he loves to take the ball into the box.
If you're wild carding here, why not do Timber and Gabriel?
That's not a bad idea.
Hedge that they're going to.
Arsenal has had to have played because they haven't been pouring goals in, so they've had to have been getting 1-0 results.
Play hedge toward the team that still is, if not the top, one of the top
Best
2 or 3 defenses in the
Timber,
league.
Gabriel, Lacroix, Munoz.
Raya as one of your and just skip Saka, skip the midfielders, skip Marino, skip the attackers altogether. Just hedge toward their boring defensive time-wasting team. Dave, Newcastle defender, also popular because of all the doubles. Choose your fighter. Dan Burn, Tino Livramento, Fabian Schär, okay, or Kieran Trippier.
Shut it down at Burn.
Not really useful to you in
Shut it
FPL,
down at Burn.
though.
Dave, in the calendar year since game week 20, which is the start of the calendar year, just for Newcastle defenders.
Okay.
It is exactly what you would expect. The small guys are creative, and the big guys are shootive.
Shootive.
Big guys are shootive, Travis.
Here's your points breakdown since game week 20. This is the qualifiers, though. Tino Livramento, 21 points in 9 games.
That's not a lot.
No, it is not.
A lot. Only they were playing Liverpool in every one of those 9 games.
9 games. 9 games, 21 points.
And Arsenal's Travis.
Dan Burn, 16 points.
Oh my gosh.
9 games.
Wow.
Fabian Schär, 11 points.
Oh my gosh, it gets
in
worse.
7 games.
Oh my gosh.
Kieran Trippier, 11 points
in
6 games.
Oh wow. Okay. So it's actually Trippier, by the math there, is the guy you might actually want to consider.
Burn and Schär, 4 shots each.
I'm just probably
Schär,
not going
3 shots on target. Burn and Schär, all 4 of their shots came in the box. Burn and Schär, 2 big chances each. No one else
Burn and Schär
on the
sounds
defense has any.
like a injury law firm.
Burn and
Actually,
Burn
Dave,
and Schär. If you're hurt, call Burn and Schär.
Fabian Schär's XG 0.73, number 1 of your Newcastle defenders.
Wow.
Dan Burn at 0.57, which is I've said this before.
It should be bigger.
Find
than
the
that.
notes. He's not. He's tall. That's it.
That's literally it.
So you're right. I recency bias seeing him score a nice, great header in the EFL Cup match. All I know is this: if Newcastle shows up the rest of the season the way they played in that game against Liverpool and or Arsenal in their last 3 EFL Cup matches, oh my gosh, Newcastle!
Cheers.
Then I want 3 players on that team the entire time, but they haven't proven that in the league.
I know. All stats tonight coming to you courtesy of the Fantasy Football Fix.
Oh, baby.
Website.
Never heard of them.
Fantasy Fix will fix
your
fantasy.
Team. All right.
Dave, Tino Livramento, 5 chances created in 2025. 5. In 9 games.
It's not a lot.
No, it's not.
All right.
So I'm saying everyone is looking at the double game week
and thinking,
and everyone
I need to bring in a Newcastle defender.
Everyone feels good about Newcastle because of the most recent non-league result.
But their league results still suck.
And I just think...
And I said that earlier in the pod.
The question is, only Lewis Hall has an assist or any other attacking return.
Oh, well, buy him.
Dead. Gone.
Might as well be red triangle.
Out of the last 7 match weeks in the Premier League, Newcastle has drawn none, lost 4, and won 3. So they are 3-4 in their last 7.
Is there
Premier
one
League
clean
matches.
sheet in there? Have they conceded in every game?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Didn't they?
Conceded in every game.
So The question would be: is Scherer or Trippier, are they worth $1 more than Tino Livramento
No
or
way.
Dan Burn?
No
the
way.
only case that you could make if you wanted to is for Trippier on free kicks.
Yeah.
Which hasn't even really been an option.
He's going to take corners. Well, it's because he wasn't starting.
Corners is a good one. Yeah,
right. So he's not starting. He also is going
But
to
is
take
Lewis Hall
other
healthy
free
now, or
kicks.
is he starting?
No, no,
He's
no,
out.
he's
for,
done.
he's done
He's
for
done.
the season.
Oh,
That's why he
okay.
said
So
Dan.
That's why he started.
Lewis Hall's out.
I was sleeping.
Yep.
I was just kidding about bringing him in.
I'm just saying, like, these are like the top, like
Dark.
these are all the people that are in the top 10 of transfers in. This is like everybody's doing this because it's double game weeks, and I get you're hedging toward 2.
It's only going to
games.
get worse as we get closer to 33.
Right. So
and
whatever.
find out about 34.
Right.
And
That's
36.
what I'm saying. So I just, to me, these are not like, oh, I got to get these guys in right this second. The matchup is better for the attackers. Jacob Murphy makes more sense to me to get than
Sure.
it is.
Agree.
Then they're like, I have to have Dan Burn in my team.
Or maybe a Harv if I know he's starting, but he hasn't
I
shown
wish
that
he
yet.
There's
I
no
wish
way.
he knew.
There's no way.
Milos Kerkez, 3 straight assists, 4 points in each game. Again, Ipswich and West Ham for the next 2 games.
I like
Nice.
that.
Only Ipswich is good.
Yeah.
The Ipswich game is
Yeah.
good. At West Ham,
Not so
Not
good.
good.
why? What do you want? What are they going to do? Not clean. You're getting a clean sheet.
Graham Potter's kind of got the West Hammers
Right.
playing the last 4 match weeks. They've won 2, lost 1, drawn 1.
Yeah.
They lost 1-0 at Newcastle. I'm pretty sure that was a late goal as well. So
Yeah.
that's not bad for the.
That's what I mean.
Potter
I just
Hammers?
don't. I don't think West Ham. I don't think at West Ham, it's not as green as it used to be. I'll just
West
would
Ham's
say
got
it
a-
that way.
West Ham's got a pretty decent close of the schedule
Right.
ahead of them.
And then, like we said, Liverpool for the next 4 games. That seems advisable. Similar question. See, this is what I was going to say.
2, though.
You're selling. So now, depending on what moves you have, you're not. Holland is out. You might keep Salah. You probably have already sold Cole Palmer. People that sold Cole Palmer are selling him for somebody who's minimum $2 less
I haven't
than what
sold
he
him.
was. But I'm saying he's still like 600,000 transfers out or whatever even this week.
Still
He's
49% owned.
massively sold.
For me, number one, I'm not. The people who are doing that,
Are going to Holland.
I have gained so much money on Cold Palmer. Like I would
Really?
actually. I'm looking at how
No,
I
because
haven't
he hasn't
gained
done
anything.
anything in 5 game
I've
weeks.
only lost
his
money on
current. You're right. I've recently lost money on him, but sorry, I sound like a complete fool.
No, it's
here.
totally.
It's-
totally.
He's come back to earth. He started the year at 10.5. He eventually had gotten up to 11.4, and now he's completely come back to 10.9. So for me, he's actually worth 10.8, I believe. But that's not true yet. I got him for 10.6. So you're right. Fair enough. He's lost a ton of money, and I've just stuck with him thinking that this cold spell, no pun intended, is going to actually stop.
I'm just saying
Got a
that.
little break. He might come back stronger. We'll
I'm
see.
just saying you sold him or Salah or whatever to get Holland. Well, now you're going back on that. So you're probably going back to Salah.
We don't know yet, but probably.
People are selling Cole Palmer or selling him to make up. We're selling him to make up money for someone that they're not needing anymore.
Oh, gotcha.
Trent Alexander-Arnold is not fit. So I'm just thinking, like, how is anyone? No one's. Are you really hurting for money here?
Right.
Who's-
Two of the 4 guys that are expensive that a lot of people owned are now injured. And
Right. So that's why I'm
Question
saying, like,
marks.
so Liverpool for the next 4 games. Similar question for Virgil versus Kanate. Like, they're $1 difference or whatever. But like, who's worried about overspending here?
I see
Like,
your
why
point.
not? Like, why?
There's money
Sure.
to be had if
Right.
you really
Wouldn't
want
you
it.
just
Yeah.
go
I
to
see that.
Virgil?
That's a good call.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. Kwanzaa down
Yep.
to 3.9. Any chance?
It depends on
Do
what
they
Brad.
have any
it,
other options?
it depends on
Travis?
Bradley's fitness, and I don't think he's going to be ready. So might not be a bad shout for a little bit.
You just don't like Everton
I think
game, right? Just because it's a derby? Is that making nervous?
I don't think it's going to matter. I think Bradley's a ways off. So yeah, sure, a week or 2 for sure. That's not a bad
But
shout.
again, we're only mentioning Kwanzaa as a money move,
Yeah,
3.9. But we just made an argument for
Yeah.
money shouldn't be a problem for
money,
me.
money shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad move if you don't have the money, but if you don't have the money, then you've probably made a lot of other bad moves.
Right, but that's so. And then also, just to be clear, the left side is a full split. You cannot count on Robertson starting or Tsimikas starting. Would you even wager one over the other at this point?
Yeah, I think it's Robertson.
Still Robertson?
Yeah, I think it's still Robertson's job. It's just a matter of
why not play Tsimikas on the other side?
Do you know that Andy Robertson?
He's super left-footed. No.
Andy Robertson is on the second page of transfers when you go to transfers in. 7,000.
Well, I don't even know why he's on any page. Why would anybody target him?
That's
for
what
anything?
I mean. He's 5.8, but I'm just saying, like, he hasn't started. Did he start against Southampton?
I think he did.
So he didn't. He didn't play at all against Newcastle 2 weeks ago, or against game week 27, and then he started and played one half against Southampton. So, what's that about? I don't remember.
He's just old, and he's speaking a lot lately about how he still got it in the tank. He's been made a scapegoat. He's gonna prove everybody wrong.
Okay.
I don't know. He's got a lot to say. I do think he is still the number one though.
Dave, you're not bringing in Dallo or anyone else. You're not bringing in Manchester
You've
United.
said Dallo like 3 times,
but you're
on this
not
podcast,
bringing him in. You're not bringing him in
not.
at Forest, home city, at Newcastle.
No.
There's no reason to believe that Manchester United is different.
unless you're Bruno
Unless it's
Fernandes.
No,
Yeah.
I think the tough thing with
just, in his last 2 out of 3 games, he's gotten assists, but it was against Ipswich and Leicester. So, anyways,
some guy talked
the answer,
about
I'm not,
like Aston Villa. Like somebody said Luka Dean's name. Like
he had a great assist.
There's a lot
today.
of people.
He had a great assist
There's
today.
a lot of people that say names that are stupid.
I mean,
You can't
there's
possibly
3
know that.
people right here that say names that are stupid. Ched.
The only other guy that was
much.
there that
Poor
was
guy.
high on the list for anybody just because the fixtures were so green was Ryan Aït-Nouri, and they drew Everton. They did concede at Southampton, and now they've got West Ham and Ipswich in the next 2. I just am not.
Yeah.
Not
doing it.
He can't
enthused.
score a
All
goal
right.
to save their lives.
But yeah,
so.
Dave, the only other thing, yes, maybe home Spurs for Chelsea. So Cucurella, I don't know.
But what do you?
Would you wild card if he's not on your wild card on game week 30? He's not. Maybe you'd bring him in 31, but then it's Ipswich, Fulham, Everton, and I don't know.
That's not bad. I mean,
Ipswich is good. At Fulham, bad. Home Everton, just a coin toss.
I don't mind that.
Spurs in the last 13 matches, they have 3 wins, they have 2 draws, and they have 8 losses.
They're a target team. They're absolutely a target team. They have one competition that matters. One.
That is shocking to me.
That's it.
And what's that competition?
It's Europa League.
Oh, okay. They're still in that?
I think they are.
I'm not trying to be stupid. I really don't know. I'm really not being. I'm not trying to actually.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm an Arsenal guy. I'm really not trying to slam them at this point.
I'm just saying,
Forgive me. I truly don't know.
The turmoil is off the charts with Ange and the fans, and whether the fans want him there or not, or like whether he needs to be backed or whatever. The bottom line is that they're, whatever. There's no consistency. There's an owner that everyone can't stand, and whatever. It's the same old story. You couldn't possibly go to any.
Let's go to night moves and captains. I've already talked about my transfer this week. I brought in Ismail Yassar. I am not using a chip this week. I am at the moment. Let me flip over. I think I'm captaining Salah, and I tell you what, that seems to go against all the stats, but. Can he get a goal against Everton? Yes. I don't think he's getting a brace. Maybe I should be captaining Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, he is.
At Newcastle. I don't know. I have a vice on Bruno Fernandes and my captain on Salah. I just can't get away from, at this point, a sucker for, you just look at, God bless. You have to go back to match week 22 when he hasn't given you something. So I'm going with Mohamed Salah as my captain. Travis, what are you doing with your night moves and captain?
Salah, captain. It's either going to be catastrophic or glorious.
Yeah.
But to your point, I think in the league,
yeah,
it's hard to bet against him.
Yep.
I had one transfer this week. I don't plan on taking a hit. I moved on from Anthony Robinson. Finally, my back line is fine. He was my weak link, and moved to Munoz to get the double game week set up. It's a long game, right? So I've got other moves to make as well. I will say that the other move that I was contemplating was I still have Dango.
Okay.
I was gonna bring that up. That's who I got rid of for Sar.
Yeah, probably not someone you want on your team. They do play Ipswich though, and so I left him in my first bench spot. Heaven forbid, somebody can't play, then it's not a bad one to put in. But that's my next move.
Captain Salah
is moving from Dango to probably a Newcastle or Crystal Palace midfielder.
Yeah.
More likely someone like an Eze.
Okay.
But yeah.
Brian, your move this week.
One transfer, Wood out, probably Isak in.
You don't have Isak?
Why only probably? I guess is my question.
Why don't you have Isak?
Because my other move would be, because I would consider just to get to the just to get these fixtures and to kind of get things rolling already. I just don't like. I would have to play Wissa, so I'm already kind of against myself here. Like you need the goals to kind of roll in there. That needs to be a 3-2 kind of game for it to matter. So it's not as good of a matchup away for Brentford as it is home for Newcastle. So Isak in. I have Raul Jimenez.
Okay.
I don't know if he's had a great international break.
Okay.
But that rotation between him and Muniz is one of the dumbest things that has happened to me all season. It's not as dumb as selling Salah at the beginning of the year for Holland, and keeping it that way for a long time. But it's been all season. Every time Raul starts to catch form,
Muniz starts.
No, he stops scoring when I get him.
Okay.
Muniz comes in to start, catches the form, and Raul stays on the is on the bench, and then it flips again. Like Raul comes off the bench and scores a goal in like consecutive weeks, or has a goal and an assist or something. Then it's like, oh well, then he's going to start again, and then he starts again, and then does nothing again. So it's all like I'm getting him this time. Now he's going to do it, and then he doesn't do it, and so it's been like that. I hate it, and so. I don't want him at Arsenal. I don't want anything Fulham related for the next however long.
Fulham, note, got Arsenal earlier this season. Also got them last year. Arsenal the last 2 years, absolute problems with Fulham.
Yeah, and Raul Jimenez scored the goal against you this season. So I think it was a draw, but Raul scored the goal. And so that was but I don't want that kind of like, oh, you got him in the reverse fixture. Doesn't matter to me. It would be Isak in, and I would consider the Marmouche.
Yeah.
I like that.
More than the Mateta move.
Wood out, Marmouche in.
Wood out, Isak in, Raul Jimenez out, Marmouche in. Mateta is not.
Okay.
There's something, I don't know.
Okay.
It's not like you need to see it first. I'm just more concerned about his ear. Like just him playing free.
Yeah, how's he going to score without an ear?
Okay.
Yeah, no,
When's the last time you've heard about somebody scoring with one ear?
Right, he can't.
Is that a pun?
He can't hear
Heard
anything.
about scoring without an ear? Are you kidding me?
Not on purpose.
Holy crap, bro.
I couldn't. When you asked if it was a pun, I couldn't even. It's like, what did I say? That could have been a pun.
I mean, seriously, bro. Like that's the fact that you didn't realize you were doing that. That's hilarious.
So anyway, point being,
who are you captaining, Brian? Get to it.
Let's hear it. Yeah,
Captain Isak.
If you buy him. When you buy him.
Gosh, that's a good call, man. Oh man, percentages him scoring more than Salah him a home. Salah at home against Everton.
Watch
God,
this.
freaking
Watch
toss-up.
this. Watch this
It's
be
a
the week
toss-up.
where
It's a
Palmer
toss-up.
gets 2 penalties or something stupid. man. This
Home
is-
at Tottenham? Yeah.
It's one of these weeks. It's gonna happen.
All right, that's a great
So
call,
anyway,
Brian. You make
that's
me think about that. As
it's
I'm
not-
chasing you down, as you're
That's-
4. If you have
that's-
passed me and I'm 4 points behind
That's
you in
what
the
I
mini
mean.
league.
This is all about like there's only 9 weeks left, and doing the boring things. I mean, whatever. Like I've already blown it 2 weeks. 2 weeks prior to this, captaining Palmer over Salah in massive point swings in those games. So let's triple down. Let's make it worse.
I like this. Actually, I think percentages favor you. All right, gentlemen, awesome. Great to be back after the last few weeks. I know we've gone a little long. Travis has been trying to speed us up to finish wrap this thing up. Awesome content, gents. Great pod. Thanks for having me back as I was been traveling over the last few weekends. Excited to see Premier League games coming up on Tuesday. Right? Tuesday, Wednesday games this week.
Tuesday kickoff.
Tuesday.
As tonight is Sunday. So here we go. We got you something out there. Gentlemen, for the FPL America podcast, this is David Smith. Until next time.